Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this wonderful Saturday morning. Once again, we are the African Reform Channel, and we are talking about all things African politics with an emphasis on Ghana. My name is Uche Noka, and I'm your host today. And we have with us, as always, Dr. Nii Amudako, who is a tremendous visionary and has much to say about the ways in which we can do things to bring Africa as a continent up to world level standard. So today, the subject is, Dr. Nii, tell me what subject is today?
National development and prosperity, domination and liberation.
Okay.
So we're going to focus on that. Now, in our previous episodes, we talk about democracy. Let me say it from the beginning that if you want to build a house, you want the best engineers and the best architects to draw the plans for you. Then you want the best builders to put the plan that the engineers have drawn into action. Or of course, you need money to do all those things. The same thing applies to national development. If you want to develop a nation, you need a good plan, a good system of government. And then you also need good national leadership. And of course, you need money to do the development.
Yes.
We have decided that democracy is the system of government that we need to move forward. Today, we are talking about how do we build good national leadership. The builders will then build a nation that we desire and we deserve. You have to understand that national leadership, the people we vote into power, they are part of the population. Okay? They are not angels. They are not from UK. They are not from anywhere. They come from amongst us. So obviously, once they are in power, they will reflect the population. And that is why there is the need for a collective change of mindset so that those who will go into power will have the same mindset as those they are going to govern. That's the way to move forward. We need good builders. And today, we are going to talk about that. Can you please have the first slide?
Yes, we can. Oh, no, of course, again.
Yeah, all right. So,
hold on a minute. This is what happened last time.
Yeah. I think it's got a bit of COVID harassing it, yeah.
Can you see
anyway,
the slides?
So no, that's fine. So the slide is not here yet. So we can go to if you get a second slide.
Okay. Just bear with you 1 second. It did this last time. Hold on 1 second.
Yeah.
Oh. It's not asking me the same question that it did last time.
All right, don't worry. So let's keep going. Now, the second slide basically has 3 points there. One is James Madison. The other one is Genesis 25. The other one is Genesis 1:28. Now, I've put James Madison there for a particular reason. He is called the father of the US Constitution. And I read a lot of his articles in the paper called The Federalist. Now, he said something. He said that knowledge will always govern ignorance. And the people who want to be their own governors must acquire the power that knowledge gives. So knowledge doesn't give all power, but it gives a certain kind of power. If you want to be your own governor, it's not about shouting, it's not about rhetoric, it's not about propaganda, it's not about sloganeering. You have to have a certain knowledge. And that knowledge will give you the power to be able to govern yourself properly. Otherwise, after you have been given the right to govern yourself, you'll be colonized again. Otherwise, if you do not have the requisite knowledge to give you the power to govern yourself again, nature abhors vacuum. Somebody will come and take over again. He said, knowledge will forever govern ignorance. Knowledge. He didn't say whites will forever govern blacks. Indians will forever govern Chinese, or Chinese will forever govern. He said, knowledge will forever govern ignorance. If you are ignorant, you will be governed. If you are ignorant, you will be dominated. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to be dominated, then don't be ignorant. Seek knowledge and the power that comes from knowledge.
Okay.
Now, we are going to look at our key source of information today from Genesis 25, from verse 23. Now, here was Rebekah, the wife of Isaac. She was pregnant, and there was always struggle in her womb. So she went to inquire of the Lord what was going on. And this is what God told her. God said, there are two nations within your womb. Two different people shall be separated from your body. And one shall be stronger than the other. And the older shall serve the younger. Now, let me say this. Isaac was not a Christian, okay? This is not about Christianity. Isaac was not even a Jew. Isaac was, and the wife Rebekah, they were just ordinary human beings. They belonged to no religion, all right? And here, God was saying that two different kinds of people would come out of your body. In your womb right now, you have two nations there, and they are fighting for what? Domination. They are fighting as to who will be the champion. And he said the champion is going to be the younger person. What God did there is what you do in pharmacology. It's what you do in medical experiments. We call it randomized control trial, where if a new medication is manufactured, it goes through phases of trial. And the critical, number one, evidence base that the medication will work is what you do. We call it randomized control trial. You have two groups, the experimental group and the control group, and they measure up in everything. You try and make sure that if they are all 26 years, they are all 26 years. If they are all female, they are all females. If they are all from this place, they are all from this place. If they all have the same background, you have to make sure that so that the difference between the two of them will be due to the medication being tried. One group will have the real medication, the other group will have what's called placebo. Now, after the experiment, if the outcome is the same for the experimental group as for the placebo group, then you know that the medication is useless, you throw it away. But if the difference is significant, then you know that the medication actually works, then it becomes useful for human beings. And that's what God did here. He matched the two of them equal, the same genetics, the same parents, the same uterine environment, everything the same, except one thing: attitude, mindset. In fact, they said that when they were being born, Jacob was holding onto the heel of Esau. He said, I'm not going to let you go. I'm going with you. So technically, they were born together. They were much equally. The difference was the mindset. And it showed. That's what made one stronger than the other. And that's what made the older one to save the younger one. Attitude, mindset. And Apostle Paul called Esau immoral Esau because he never valued the things that were given to him. He never valued the thing that was given to him. It's what is eldership if I'm dying now?
You're hungry, yeah.
Yeah, I'd rather give it to it so that I survive. Man of convenience. Man of convenience. The man who never valued anything. This other guy had a completely different mindset. And God said, two nations, in other words, one person can represent a whole nation. One person can create a whole nation. He said, two nations are in your womb. Not two persons. Two nations are in your womb. And one will become the dominant one, and the one will become the dominated one. It's as simple as that. You have to decide whether in your life you want to be a Jacob or an Esau. A nation will have to decide whether it wants to be an Esau or a Jacob. Africa would want to blame everybody for all his problem. But we make the decision, unless we are not normal human beings like others. We always have to decide. And this particular example that God gave is a reflection of what he said in the beginning, Genesis 1:28. And he said, God blessed them and said, be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth, and have dominion over all the fish of the sea, birds of the air, and all living things that walk on the surface of the earth. God gave that biological potential to all human beings. All human beings. He don't give it to one group and let the other group out. He said that you have to have dominion. So there are people here whose whole idea of life is to have dominion, to follow what God said at the beginning. That was the first blessings of God to the man and the woman he had created. Those who have decided to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue the earth, they are the developed nations, and they dominate. Those who have not done so are the underdeveloped nations, and they are dominated. Domination and being dominated, or they are two sides of the same coin, and that's what reflected in Jacob and Esau. Two sides of the same coin, two persons in the same room at the same time. But one of them became dominant and the other one was dominated.
Can I just interject here slightly? I hear what you're saying, but the fact is, Jacob's trait was that of a deceiver. His name means deceiver.
Yeah, it's a usurper. You see,
usurper. Sorry,
usurper. Now, the point
so are
here
we celebrating that trait? Are we saying that this is the way that we can move the world?
We are celebrating. No, not exactly like. We are celebrating the fact that somebody determined that he will break the status quo. He said that this status quo, I reject it. Why must we be born at the same time and everything should be given to one person? I won't accept it. He was a revolutionary. That's the way I will put it. Now, you see, when it happened like that, you realize that there was another incident where the Bible says that Jacob fought against God. He said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. And God, at that point in time, changed his name from Jacob to Israel.
Yeah.
Because God realized that this man is not even happy defeating his brother. He wants to defeat me too. Whatever you have to do to break the status quo of Africa being the Africa being the oppressed, Africa being the humiliated, you got to do it. We cannot accept the status quo because God operated this experiment within human consciousness.
But
when you have against you, when you have a system stuck against you, you have to fight the system. And if you have to do it by being smarter than the lazy, immoral person, so be it. I will not decide that because the system is like this, I have to play strictly by the rules to remain the way I am. Jacob said, no, it's not fair. I won't accept this. I will usurp authority. He was a revolutionary. Now, usurpation of power in the circumstances where the whole status quo is against you is legitimate. Because what he did, he did not actually steal from Esau.
Esau relinquished it. Yeah, he didn't appreciate what he had. He just gave it up. Yeah,
he gave it up. He said, look, I'm happy to give this to you, but you have to give this in return. And Esau could have said, no, then I'd rather die with it. But he didn't. Now, when he sold his birthright, somehow he thought, once you sell your birthright, things will have to work in such a way that you don't get a blessing. But once you sell your birthright, I'm telling you, you sold it. Jacob did not go and steal it. The birthright wasn't like a ring that Jacob went to steal when his brother was sleeping. But he said, you know what? I'm quite happy to help you, but you got to help me too. Unfairly, the system gives you so much power. Give that to me, and I'll save your life now. And the man of convenience, easily gave it to him because for him, at that time, his flesh was more important than his spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how Jacob played it, and that's the way Africa should play it. Somebody comes to you, or I want to invest here. Oh, you want to invest here? No problem. But if I give you the land, then forever I have a 20% stake in what you are going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Forever I have a stake in what you are going to do. I'm not going to give you for free, then you take everything and take the money. No. Okay, fine. That's how we have to look at it. But let's go. Now, next slide.
Okay. So yeah, finally figured out I was wrong. So there you go. Yeah.
All right. So we're speaking about these. Now, then we have Matthew 25, 14 to 30. That's the parable of the talent.
Okay.
And over there, we saw again. Now, let me put it again. Jesus Christ was a man of religion. Okay. He was against the religious people, and they killed him. Here, parable of the talent. And it was about somebody going somewhere and gave talent to his servants, expected them to bring returns, and did not bring the returns. And the one who did not bring the returns, he was cast into a place of utter darkness, where there was weeping and gnashing of teeth, because that is the way God sees the world. A wrong mindset. Whatever you have been given, people say, "Oh, Nii, so how do you get them to do all that you are doing?" Well, I believe that God has given me a talent and has put it to the fullest use possible. So I have to make time, and it involves sacrifice.
Yeah.
I'll work 10 hours, then I'll come and talk to you. I'll prepare my mind, then I'll talk to you. Sometimes it's so late, I don't even eat and I sleep. But I believe that whatever talent God has given to me, I have to make it to the fullest. I have to blow to the fullest. And that's why I do what I do. Whether I become whatever I want to become here or not, I know that I'm doing the will of God. And on that day, he will tell me, "Good and faithful servant, have your seat here." It's as simple as that. We have to know why we are alive here.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, if you do not do that, if you do not behave like the first and the second servants, who then got rewarded, they became the dominant ones, you will be cast into utter darkness where there is weeping and gnashing of teeth. And from there, you now start to fight for your liberation. Next slide. The trouble with Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, the first gift that my wife Shika gave to me were a set of 2 books. One, The Trouble with Nigeria, written by Chinua Achebe. And the other one, Come Back, Ghana, written by her own father, Kofi Awoonor. Yeah. I don't know why she actually gave me those 2 books. But, I don't know. Maybe she will tell me today. I never asked. I read those books and I said, okay, interesting. All right. Then later on, I wrote an article, The Trouble with Ghana. Another one, Come Back, Ghana, the model state. You know that the British colonized 53 countries. But of the 53 countries, they call Ghana the model colony. So I said, Come back, the model states. What is the trouble with Africa?
Sorry, can I just ask a question there? What made Ghana the model state? What made it a model, as far as they were concerned?
Oh, that would be, maybe let's talk about that, but that's what the British said. Because see, when they came to Ghana, they realized that two of the fundamental problems that they've been solving all around the world were not present in Ghana. 1, inter-ethnic wars, and 2, religious wars.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had to struggle to contain India between the, what do you call those people?
Hindus and the Muslims.
The Hindus and the Muslims. In the end, they had to split them apart. In Nigeria, there was always inter-religious wars, but in Ghana, they didn't find that. Not one. So it was very easy for them to manage, because even in Ghana, I mean, this could be a whole topic on its own. But after they've been everywhere they've been to, they call Ghana the model colony. The model colony. When they started their decolonization program, they were quite quick to experiment with Ghana first, because there was already a strong level of cohesion among the various ethnic groups. that did not exist anywhere. As I'm talking to you, there is the intertribal or the inter-ethnic marriages in Ghana cannot be compared. The level cannot be compared to any country on the surface of the earth. There are more people of my ethnic group marrying Akans than there are of English people marrying Scottish people. So when they say the modern economy, it means that intrinsically we are probably the most stable.
Okay.
And the thing is that divide most of Africa cannot divide us. At that point in time, things have changed since. But the trouble with Africa, Einstein said something. He said that it is impossible to solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it in the first place. It means that to solve a problem, you need to move higher. You need to move higher. You have to operate from a higher level of consciousness to solve the problem. So it means that problems and solutions all come from what? Consciousness. Low consciousness gives problems. High consciousness gives solutions. And when Einstein says something, you don't have to play with it. Only 2 days ago, they auctioned his handwritten equation, E equals mc squared, for $1.2 million. The most famous equation in the world that changed the whole world was auctioned for $1.2 million. When he says something, you have to take it extremely seriously. And he says that consciousness is the source of problems and solutions. Africa, as a collective, the consciousness is low. The consciousness is what? Low.
And when you're saying consciousness, could you break down what you specifically mean by consciousness?
I'm coming. The conscious, I'm coming. You see, unless you realize that, we're not gonna go anywhere. Let me let me be very frank. Okay, let me be very frank with you. Before the white man came, we were doing what? Human sacrifice. And we are still doing it though, on a smaller scale. Now, when you can sacrifice human beings to gods and other things or other human beings who have died, like kings or whatever, then it's very easy for you to sell human beings. Which is worse, to kill a human being or to sell a human being? We're doing this before the white man came. And we sold ourselves. Now, because we don't want responsibility for our actions, we blame others. We blame the white man. We blame religion. But here we are. The Chinese are neither white nor Christian. And they are coming. Because the same level of consciousness that we can easily offload our own to others is still with us.
Okay.
The same kind of thinking, the same kind of mindset is still with us. I am here in Australia. When a New Zealander comes here, he is treated like an Australian. If a New Zealander is here and he goes to university, he gets the same HEX contribution scheme like an Australian. If he comes here, he can only transfer his pension from New Zealand to Australia. They treat each other like they are one people because that's how their mind works. A Zimbabwean, and in Ndebele, who is an ethnic Zulu, goes to South Africa and is treated like a criminal. He could be burned alive. The same mindset that led us to sell each other, we have the same mindset now. So we don't know that when we mismanage our countries and our children move through the Sahara to go and seek greener pasture somewhere, we are selling them again to slavery. This time round, the slave ships are not on the coast of Osu or Accra or Cape Coast or wherever. Now we are chasing them to enslave us. We are chasing our children. We are pushing our children away to go and be enslaved, and we don't even care because we don't even understand. We are in total darkness. That is the reason why a president of Ghana will go to a conference wherever to go and say that, oh, please cancel our debt. How can they cancel your debt? How can they cancel your debt? Oh, we are having challenges with governance. We are having this and that and that. Oh, we are a shithole. Please forgive us. Let us start all over again. When? When you go and collect money and share the money amongst yourself, and you want people's taxpayers' money from somewhere else to be forgiven, how? We go and disgrace ourselves. That is the trouble with Africa. Low consciousness, life of convenience. Let me tell you something. I wrote a note to some people, friends I consider friends, that, oh, look, I'm inviting you to come and watch these things, and you are not commenting. And I quoted Matthew 22 to them about the guy who was going to hold the banquets. He sent people to go and invite people from here. They gave excuses. Then I said, you are not going to be invited again. And then one of them called me. I think that's a bit harsh. I said, pardon me. He said, oh, you know, sometimes we are busy. I know the inference. The inference is that you are a doctor sitting in Australia. Everything is cool for you. You think we have time here, this and that and that and that. I know that's the way we think. Low, absolutely darkness, low consciousness. And I said, okay, that is all right. Consider the situation where you have sent me 4 WhatsApp messages about something and I do not reply. Will you assume that I'm so busy that's why I do not reply, or you'll be disappointed?
Disappointed, yeah. You could at least write a message and say, I'll contact you later or something, yeah.
Yeah. Will you assume that I'm very busy, or you'll be disappointed? They say, oh, I said, you'll be disappointed because you know I'm busier than you. What are you busy? That you, when you want something, you can chat me on WhatsApp for 30 minutes, 35 minutes. So what are you so busy that you cannot use 30 minutes in a week? Because you live a life of convenience. You are never, everything about convenience. And that is the trouble with Africa. We do not believe in anything that we have to struggle and sacrifice for. Because if you do, you will not tell me that you are busy doing what? Busy doing what? You've been busy 40 years, 45 years in your life. What does that achieve for you in Ghana? And it is not about me, because I don't need to do what I'm doing. It's about you more than it's about me. Because you pay tax to people who are not accountable to you. And I'm telling you that there's a better way of managing your system. And you are telling me you are busy. Busy doing what? And so, oh, Nii, I'm sorry. I said, no, it's entirely up to you. What I've said is this. I'll move to. In that parable, the banquet host, the host of the banquet said, now go to the highways, go to the byways, go and call the armed robbers, go and call wherever, and let them come to the banquet. And they came, and the place was full, and it will happen. Because we have to change. We don't live for anything, just convenience, immoral Esau's. Next slide. Now, exposure and a winning template. Let me tell you something. Nothing happens by chance, okay? Like Einstein said, God does not play dice with the universe, okay? What doesn't work, doesn't work. What works, works. Now, when God wanted Moses to build a tabernacle for him, he did not give Moses a vision or a dream and say, go and do it. He called Moses out from the people to a place, and he opened heaven for Moses to see the tabernacle and say, you see there? Draw everything, write everything, and go and build exactly the same thing for me. That is what is called development. You have to have that mindset that whatever you have to do in developmental terms, you got to be accurate, properly planned with everything. And then you do. You just don't wake up and just thought bubbles, things come to your mind, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, just go and do it. We have African politicians who have not written one single thing about the understanding of the state and how the state must function, yet they want to be president. Where is the template of your tabernacle? How are you going to build it? How are you going to build it? Oh, yeah, they come and their tribesmen and tribeswomen vote for them, or they go to the same church or whatever. But where is the plan? Where is the plan? Germany, after the Second World War, you're going to spring back easily because they have the template. They know what is called development already. So when the money came, the December government was there, good leadership was there. Money came from America as Marshall Plan, and Germany in a generation became the strongest nation of Europe again. You go to UK, wherever UK has been to. I have lived in South Africa and in Australia. And when you go there, you know that the British have been here. Because what they had in their mind over there in UK, they brought it wherever they colonized. There's a state here called New South Wales because they said that we want to build this place like to the south of Wales, New South Wales. When you go there, you know that is who have been to Wales. They came from Wales. All right. If you do, there's a man called Captain. Those of us in my generation in Accra know him very well. I went to a furniture warehouse here in Melbourne, and I spoke to a shopkeeper. Then he said, "Oh, are you from Ghana?" I said, "Yeah, how do you know?" He said, "Oh, because you know this man, Captain." I said, "Yeah, I know Captain." He said, "Oh, the Captain is here in Dandino. He owns this one. All the warehouse you see is for Captain. Your people come there almost every month. You slaughter a sheep and you have fun, and he speaks your language." I said, "Of course. Captain live in the same place as me. He live in Osu." And at that time, all the private cinema halls, Osu Cinema, Opera, Ofre, Orion, they're all for Captain. It was a Lebanese.
Okay.
When the riffraffs came and said their stupid revolution, they chased him out. And they think that you can take from Jacob and give to Esau and to be sustainable. No, all these places have collapsed completely off the map. You cannot do that. But Captain, with the mind of Jacob, came to Australia, and in Melbourne is owning big warehouses because it's the mindset that determines the outcome.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what. You cannot pin somebody with the correct mind, like Germany. You cannot pin them down. They know how to do it. And Captain here, what he did in Accra isn't in Melbourne, in white man's land. A Lebanese. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. Next topic. Personal example. You see, in life, right? In life, you cannot talk from books. It's incomplete. You cannot talk from other people's experience. It's good, but it's incomplete. You must be able to talk about your experience. Because then people can say, okay, we can give him the chance. David and Saul, when David was sent by his father to his brothers on the field, when the Philistines challenged them, and he said, "Who will kill this uncircumcised Philistine? What will be done to the man who kills the uncircumcised Philistine?" It said, "Shut up, two-known boy." And the more they tried to push him down, the more he shouted. Eventually, they had to take him to Saul. And he went there and recounted everything to Saul why he believed he will finish this man. Well, Saul had no choice but to give him the chance. But then Saul tried to put on his armor. David tried to say, "No, master, I can't wear this. I don't know. I have no experience in this. I don't want this. I'll use my own system." You have to tell your own story. You have to be able to use your own system to say that, yes, I did this with my bare hands, so I can do it again. And Saul allowed him. He took his sling and his five smooth stones and the shepherd's bag, and he went in there, and in no time he killed Goliath. Goliath today represents the poverty, the disease, the ignorance, everything that confronts Africa is the Goliath. And it's only a kind of people who can defeat this Goliath. It's the David kind of people who can defeat this Goliath. You have to understand what it means to be like a David. We can talk about the story of Abraham, but I'll leave that because I'm running out of time. Tema is the harbor city of Ghana, 20 kilometers east of Accra on the coast. My father's younger brother was then working there. He was the CFO of Nestle. And 1982, when I came back from school, my father had gone into exile after rolling school. And my grandmother said, "Oh, you're not going to stay with me now. You're a big boy. You're not going to stay with me. You have to go to your uncle." Then my father's immediate younger brother was coming from Germany for summer holidays. "Oh, you go and serve your uncles. They're not going to stay with me. No, so you go." So I went to them. And when I went to Tema to serve my uncles, what should I think is doing everything? You know, if you want to be great, you must be willing to serve. Okay. So I was there, I served them, but then I had a problem. My uncle's wife was very adversarial. She just didn't like me for the simple reason that when I went there for the first time, my uncle from Germany was there, my uncle in Tema, the husband was there, and my terminal report came. Out of around 20 people, I was first. And my uncle from said, "Oh, I've heard that you are very good, but I didn't know it was that good. Wow." You know, and then what happened was that whenever my uncle was angry with his own daughters, then he would say, "Nobody will go to a disco anymore. You all be like Niamu. He's always here studying. Nobody." So then, you know, women behavior, you know. So she says, "Go, you're not gonna come here," and then they'll be pinning my daughters down because of you. Rah, 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 rah. Anyway, so it was a problem for me. In the end, over there, that's when I developed the whole concept of the Amuhad, because I said, you know what, I need to change this country. When I went back to school in secondary from 4, I told my mates, I'm sure some of them are watching now, they are all alive, that I'm going to stage a revolution in Ghana. I've got to change the status quo. And it's going to be Amuhad. It's a long story. But basically, what happened was that when I finished O levels, then even before our results came, there was a big explosion in the house. 24th of October 1984. And then I told my uncle that I'm out of here tomorrow. I won't stay here again. Okay? I've had enough of this bullshit. I won't stay here again. The following day, I left, 25th October 1984. I left. And my friend said, "Hey, Charlie, how can you go back to Osu and go and do this from there? You know, you're in downtown Osu, noise, shouting. Who's going to pay for you? You know, see, some in Ghana is all about going to private classes and stuff like that. You should have just stayed in Tema and just, you know, block your nose and just," I said, "It's not like me. It's not me. I want to test the power of my freedom. I'm going to Osu and I'm going to kill the A level with my bare hands. Nothing. I'll kill the A level with my bare hands. I'll kill Madagascar with my bare hands. The Lion A level, I'll kill with my bare hands. The Bear University of Ghana, Madagascar, I'll kill with my bare hands." And I did it in Osu from 1984 October to 1995 October. When I left Ghana, I lived with my grandmother. The way you see me today wasn't like that some time ago. So now, when I stand and I talk, I know how to kill the Goliath.
Right. Okay.
I know. And now, from 1984, October 25th, I launched the Amuhad Revolution. I didn't know the form, but in my mind, I was going to prove a point. And I'll break the status quo. And I'm very happy myself today that whatever happens from today to the day I die, I'm quite happy because I proved the point that if you believe in yourself, you can do whatever you want. Next slide.
Absolutely.
Any hope for us as Africans? And this is my liberation theology, the brain of my revolution. You see, people don't understand, but the brain of Moses' revolution was Jethro. The brain of King Utetu of Ashanti's revolution was Anoche. And the brain of Castro revolution in Cuba was Che Guevara. That's how Castro described him, the brain of the revolution. Every successful revolution must have a brain and a leader. So who is the brain of my revolution? The ultimate revolutionary. The ultimate revolutionary. Luke chapter 4, verse 18 and 19. And I say this without any apologies. The ultimate revolutionary, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When he was tempted of the devil, and he came, he went straight into the synagogue, and he asked that he should begin the scroll to read, and he opened the book of Isaiah, I think 53, and he read from there. He said, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because I'll be anointed to preach the good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to set at liberty the captives, to recovery of sight to the blind, and to set at liberty those who are oppressed." He described 5 social groups. Now, when you go through these 5 social groups, and you put them up to date, that who are the poor, who are the broken-hearted, who are the captives, who are the blind in darkness, and who are oppressed. You know that he's talking about only one group of people in the world. He's talking about Africans. Yes, we fit this description more than any group in the world. That's how our president will go and meet other presidents and beg that our debt should be cancelled. He say, we are shithole. We cannot do anything for ourselves. Change the slate and give us a chance again. We are poor. We are blind. We are brokenhearted. We are captives. We are oppressed. Yes. That is my, the Catholic priests in Latin America, they came up with what they call the liberation theology some time ago, based on Marxist social analysis. I reject that completely. We are here because we need to move out from where we are. And to do that, you need to have a brain. The revolution that we are talking about, the brain of our revolution is the one who will stand up and say, I have a good news for the poor. I want to open the eyes of the blind. I want to set at liberty those who are oppressed. I want to bring healing to the brokenhearted. That is what the Christ-like human being, not the Christian. As for the Christian, forget about that. Okay, we're talking of Christ-like. Christ-like. Okay. And anybody who believes in this is Christ-like. Anybody. I don't care what the person thinks he worships. But if you want to help Africa, when you pray, whatever you want to do, say that God anoint me also so that I could preach the good news to the poor, that I could bring healing to the brokenhearted, that I could bring recovery to the sight of those who are blind. For me, this is the crux of the matter. This is the crux of the matter. All that I have done is to prove that I have killed the lion, I've killed the bear with my bare hands, and I'm positioned to do. You see, one thing that happened for me between 82 and 87, very crucial in my political development. When I came back to 84, late 84, and I finished in 86, like I told you before, a cousin of mine, Paul Getty, gave me 3 books: Song of Abraham, Exodus, and How Europe Underdeveloped the World by Walter Rodney. Just when I finished reading those books, a very good friend of mine, Eric Engman, Lizetto, he invited me to a church, and the church was called International Central Gospel Church. They were then celebrating their 3rd anniversary in 1987 February. He said, "Oh, Nii, you know what? This guy, Nelson Tabo, he's somebody you like because he preaches like the way you talk. He preaches like the way you talk." Yeah, that's why I met Pastor John.
Okay.
So you come and watch him. So I went there and I listened to him for that that was our 3rd anniversary. And I was really touched by the way he was preaching. That was the Nelson Tabo of that time. As I'm talking today, he's lost his way completely. And I'm saying that so it gets to him. He's lost his way and he needs to repent, because judgment will start from the house of God. He's lost his way. But in those days, when I went to university later on in the year 87, I became his chief advocate. You go to P Block, Legon Hall, George, Ayatollah, and all those guys. I was always fighting with Gaffes and LPU. I was chief advocate. We established the Collins family in the campus, myself, Pastor John, and Pastor Woes in Accra. And today it's a church on campus. But it's lost its way. Absolutely. So when I got, then I used to preach the same good news, but in an ecclesiastic sense. Today I'm preaching the good news in the political sense. I'm telling you, Africa shall be free, because we know how to liberate ourselves. We know that there is a message out there for the poor, for the brokenhearted, for the captives, for those who are blind, and we will preach that good news.
Yes. Dr. Nii, as always, thank you for just opening our eyes to a completely different way of viewing things, just seeing things from like an aerial view of what the problems are and how these problems can be rectified. For those of you watching, please make sure you share this video. Let your friends, your family, your colleagues know about Dr. Nii's vision, about this channel, so they can sit at his feet and hear and learn it from his wisdom as to what can be done to help transform transform Africa, basically transform this continent to be the jewel that it is destined to be. It has the potential to be the jewel in the crown. It has that potential, but we need men and women with different sorts of mindsets to be able to help set the infrastructure in place to make that a possibility. Dr. Nii, there's some questions here. Ooh. Let's see. No, let's see. So your wife has already answered this question in the chat, but I just want to show it to you.
Okay.
Ooh, what happened there? Oh, where did it go? There. If we're all God's, so from Victoria Quarte, if we're all God's children, why are these things happening to us in Africa? Did something go wrong in our creation?
No, and Manvik, nothing went wrong for our creation. The same way Jacob and Esau, where they were from the same parent, the same genetic material, but one had a different mindset from the other. Other one believed in convenience. He's prepared to sell anything to the highest bidder at the moment. Now, we can always come back. Like God told Cain, if you do the right thing, will you not be accepted? Yes, we are. If you do the right thing, and he talking that, well, sin or death or whatever is waiting for you at the entrance of your door, but overcome it. We have the power to overcome whatever and wherever we find ourselves. We are all children of God. There is no two ways about that. But our attitude will determine where we'll be. Mind you, both Jacob and Esau were grandchildren of Abraham. They were children of Isaac. One decided to go this way, another one decided to go that way. So yes, it's not God. It's got nothing to do with God and our creation. It's got everything to do with us. And I'm telling you, with the correct leadership, we'll be the correct house.
Yes, I agree. Thank you. As a question here from your lovely wife, if I think Sika, is that the correct pronunciation? Sika.
Is Shika?
Am I saying it correctly?
You say it's S by
okay,
Shika.
Thank you.
Yes,
right.
Yeah.
How do we get? Okay. Right. I have a question. How do we get the whole continent to wake up and be determined not to be dominated any longer?
It will have to start from a point. It will have to start from a point. You see, when you look at the Pan-Africanist Congress flag, their logo, Pan-African Congress in South Africa, they're no longer there. They have the map of Africa with light shining from Ghana to the rest of the continent. Ghana is the base. The model colony is the base. We are not going to wake up just like that, like for example, but we need to see example. Like Moses built a tabernacle, we have to build a tabernacle in Ghana that other Africans can see and say, we will build this one too in our place. So it's going to happen, but it's going to happen in a stepwise direction, okay? It's going to happen in a way that people always, all human beings respond to external stimuli. Once they see the correct thing there, you see that people will be able to emulate. People will be able to emulate. So let's start from one place and slowly people will emulate and to spread across the continent. Thank you very much for your question.
Okay, I'll just make this the last question again from Victoria Quarte. She asked this. Why is it only in Africa we have low consciousness? We don't seem to hear about it from the rest of the world. Why is it Africa?
Yeah, as compared to the rest of the world, yes. Because we are free human beings. We have free will to determine what you want to do. That's one thing God gave to us, free will. You have to understand that even on the way from Egypt to the promised land, God had to kill almost the whole of the generation of Moses because they were stiff-necked. They were very difficult. With all the signs they saw, they couldn't change their mindset. At times, oh, Moses is gone. Let us go and get our own God, and we'll start worshiping our own God again. They are very stubborn people. And at one point, I think 10,000 or so were dying a day until God cleared the whole. So it's not only the African problem, it's a human problem, except that we have stayed there for too long because the leadership that we need to move us from low consciousness to high consciousness has not been present. That's what it takes. Where we are today, other people were there 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, but they've moved away because they got the correct leadership to move them from one level to another. That is our problem. But I'm telling you again, the people who sit in darkness shall see a great light. Mambi, thank you very much.
Amen. Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Nii, as always. There's a lot for me to learn. That's why I just sit there quietly drinking this, and I'm going to go back and watch this video again and just start making some notes myself personally. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your vision with us. If you're new to this channel, if you're new to your first time here, please follow Dr. Nii on his social media platforms. I'll put this again in the actual description box of the YouTube video, this one here, so you don't miss out. But there's all of his social media handles there. Please share, subscribe, and like this video. Please also make sure you're spreading the word. Spread the word about Dr. Nii and his vision for Africa as a continent, but specifically Ghana. Share his vision. Let people come and start listening and speaking, asking questions so that they can be a part of this African reform movement. That's all we have time for today. Just to let you know, we were speaking earlier, we're going to now just have these talks on a Saturday because that's when the most people can be around to watch them. So as from next week, this talk will only be taking place on a Saturday, 12 p.m. GMT time. So make a note of that in your diaries, set your clocks. You do not want to miss it. Thank you so much for joining us and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, Dr. Nii.
Thank you very much, Uche. As always.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Ooh.